Pop, lock, and drop it.
It's Crumble Cookie Monday.
Pop, lock, and drop it. We just had some crumble cookies.
We did. And you...
What happened? What? I mean, you just turned the whole device.
I did. Okay, see? It's hard to describe. You're just going to have to go to the YouTube video to watch what's going on. But I'm moving my mic, and it's just...
I don't know why it's pulling like that.
Okay, I figured just
don't move. Are your headphones pulling? It looks like it.
I don't know.
Hold on.
No, we're good. The headphones are. Oh, you turned it off.
I know.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
All right, we'll cut this. Cut the first minute out.
All right. It's Crumble Cookie Monday.
Let's do this again. Pop, lock, and drop it. And it's Crumble Cookie Monday.
You had some cookies, but you won't have all of them like you used to because you're on a diet. You're sticking to your first in and out goal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Good job.
Oh, dude, it's going to be a long road.
It doesn't mean you can never have it again. You're just supposed to
Well, I did have some. You gave me, like, oh, it's just a piece. And I think it's like, dude, it's like 100 calories, one little piece.
I get it from my mama. My mom just force feeds it.
Your mother at your party.
I know.
And it was so funny. But like I couldn't say no, but I genuinely wasn't not hungry.
It doesn't matter.
And she's like,
you'll make room.
And I'm like, there's a lot of me to go around right now. Like I don't need more. I don't need to eat when I'm not hungry.
This is gonna forever bug me, dude.
I don't know why.
All right,
is it okay? Pull it closer to you anyway. Like it should be very, very close to you.
Okay.
As we've discussed.
I know. All right, let me see your nail. Joseph
this one
pulled a Camilla, really. He dropped a weight on his finger.
Well, you know what it was?
And it's a little
At least see that it's purple in there.
Yeah.
You should see my father's finger. I don't know what he did, but his is still black and he did it like 2 months ago.
Because he probably damaged. I thought you would have damaged your nail bed. You might have, but
it was right underneath. But honestly, it's like down here.
Bend it.
It doesn't look. It caught it underneath. You know what happened?
It doesn't look too bad, but if your nail turns black, eventually, it's just because you damaged the nail bed and just leave it alone.
His is still black.
It'll be black for almost a year. Nick damaged the nail bed on one of his toes for almost a year until it fully grew out. Was when it was back to normal.
The doctor said it was going to take a long time.
Yeah.
Mine was like I came down. I was on the last rep of the last set of the last exercise, and I was doing lateral raises, not even heavy weight. Came down, and I don't know what happened. I was like
crushed.
Somehow this got sandwiched in between the two,
and then you dropped the dumbbells on the floor, and you're like,
I was pissed. That hurt. Yo, it was throbbing like for a couple hours.
I'm sure it was. You should cover it though.
I know.
It looks a little raw right now.
I let it breathe. I've been
let it breathe at night when you're out and about.
I can bleed all over my sheets. Speaking of blood, what a transition!
Wow. Okay. Speaking of blood, we're talking about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Two.
And the reason why we're talking about it is because the second one is dropping, and it's dropping in a couple weeks, and Joseph and I bonded over this because I actually was gone for the show when the movie was really being like promoted.
Yeah.
And Joe was like, "Oh, we should go see this movie together." And I was like, "Absolutely, we should." And then all of a sudden,
it's so dramatic.
And then all of a sudden, I was like, "Wait, I don't think I'm going to be back for it." Because at the time, I didn't know how long I was going to last in the game. The game was also very ambiguous about lasting like a month and a half, which meant that I would have missed it.
Because it was very limited showing. Only one theater in Rhode Island had it.
And it was one day. It was one day.
Wow.
One day. Jeez. It was like February 13th or 14th or whatever.
15th. Yeah.
15th.
Yep.
It was one day.
Yeah.
So I knew that it was like my one time to see it, and I probably wasn't going to make it. Spoiler alert, I got out early, and I was home, and Joe was going to watch it with his friend.
Every time.
I know. Joe was going to watch it with his friend, and I was going to watch it with Nicholas, who hates scary movies.
Right.
So that was going to be interesting. And then we pulled, shout out Heather, to come with her husband, because her husband's also like, he doesn't mind scary movies. Right. It's not as bad as Nick. But then the boys would have each other, and then me and her could just like nerd out over scary movies because she loves scary movies.
Right. I didn't realize that was Heather that night. Mm-hmm. So I had sort of met her before your party.
It was like a very in passing type deal because
we didn't even start this yet. This is before we started this whole podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe that's, all right.
Yeah. And it was very in passing because what happened was Joe and his friend were sitting at the top and then I was at the bottom, but naturally I showed up late and so did, but I didn't show up late that much. If you remember, I showed up late by like only like a couple minutes, but then Nick was coming from work. So he showed up like literally 20 or 30 minutes into the movie.
He was coming from like Taunton, wasn't he?
Yeah. And he had to wait until he got out of work. So yeah, it was like 20 or 30 minutes until he came in. And so he missed the very beginning. And he missed when the girl got run over by the car or whatever and her head got splattered. And all the gruesome stuff that Heather and I were like, ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, we sat next to each other in the front and you were towards the back. And that was our first time meeting her.
And this, if people don't know, this came about because I believe it was like Disney.
Disney lost the rights.
Well, I think they just let the rights expire. Okay. Which is also the same for Tigger. And it might be potentially why this is getting released, I think, on Valentine's Day this year, is because the rights to Tigger is up, I think, this month or like the end of January or January 1st.
Interesting.
So they let that and Mickey Mouse, which is very odd.
That is weird because that's like a Disney staple.
Right. But they made a horror movie out of this whole thing.
Uh-huh. I heard that they're going to be making a horror movie out of Mickey. Is that a thing? Did you hear that?
I did not hear that, but I would. If you go into this knowing that it's not a level
good.
of ridiculous,
like it's not ridiculous. Good. Let's preface this by we knew this going into it that it really was going to be bad, and it really was bad. But 10 out of 10, we said that we would watch. Whatever comes out with it, and of course, there's a part 2.
It received mostly negative reviews, but because it did fairly well, it got a bigger budget. It's like Terrifier. It got a bigger budget for the second one. Yeah. And they're supposed to, I won't even really, can we spoil it?
Well, let's preface what the beginning really was. So like the very first one was about how Winnie the Pooh and Piglet were left by Christopher Robin.
Well, all of them were left. But they only reference
2. Well, 3. Eeyore 2.
Yeah, they didn't reference Kanga or Tigger. Or who's the other one? There's one more. But anyway, yes, it was. I thought there was. I know there's more characters in there, but I think to your point, they only referenced Pooh, Piglet, and Eeyore. I think, but I thought there was another one.
I'm going to tell you who all the characters are. Okay, so Pooh, Owl, Eeyore, Tigger, Kangaroo, Piglet, and Rabbit.
But they're not all referenced in the movie.
No, only were those 3. So you actually see though. Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. You only see those 2. Yeah. Initially, you only see Pooh, and then Piglet kind of comes in, and he's like, Piglet's like Pooh's right-hand man. I don't know how to describe it.
He's one of the evil henchmen.
Yeah. So, and they were all left behind by Christopher Robin in the forest.
Yes, because he went to college.
Because he went to college. And while he left them behind, they went rabid and became like forest creatures.
Yeah, they were basically left to their own devices and
became killer animals.
Pretty much, because this isn't really the spoiler because you see it. This is a cartoon, like this is animated version of the very beginning, like the intro. And they were left to their own devices and they had to eat one of their own. And they ate Eeyore, and then from that point, they swore to never speak again. Mm-hmm. And then ensued the...
I forgot that was the reason why. I knew Eeyore died. I just didn't remember how. So they ate Eeyore.
Well, he was probably the most succulent.
Stupid?
Well, stupid. I figured like if you had to eat somebody. And you got on a deserted island, right?
You go for the biggest one.
You go for the biggest one, which is why I'm trying to lose weight so that I won't be that guy.
You would think that Pooh would be the biggest one, though.
He's the leader, though.
Yeah, true. Can't eat the leader.
Can't eat the leader.
So then throughout the whole movie, they never spoke, and they only really referenced Eeyore in passing. specifically when they used his tail as a whip
Which is genius.
on Christopher Robin. I remember Nick being like, "What is that?" And I go, "That's Eeyore's tail." And he was like, "What the hell?" Yeah, so it's very interesting. The acting in it,
It's not good.
it's not great.
But again,
I think Christopher Robin was the best character.
he was. So basically,
But
he goes back into he brings his girlfriend to try to show her all these things. And then at some point, as they keep going on, she's like, I
We
think
should go back.
Well, no. Well, yeah, but she's like, I think you made this up. And then as they keep going, I think she's thinking, I think I made a mistake with you.
It's funny because it's like, she was one of the better female characters. There's like a bunch of bimbos. Essentially, the rest of the characters that they had on it were bimbos. I remember them like running through this like pool-esque area. And they're all just like like it's like
the reactions were like poor or something.
Yeah, they weren't great. No. The gore was pretty good. Like there was a good amount of like gore to it, I would say.
Yeah.
I just don't know, but 100% walked out being like, I would watch this again, which you did watch this again.
Well, like twice.
Yeah, and I walked out being like, I'm 100%. I would see a sequel if they made a sequel, and they made a sequel.
Are you on Wikipedia?
No, but I can be.
You? Because on Wikipedia it should show the budget for the first one. I'm just curious because, again, when they're like these films that don't have a big budget, the actors and the people that you get are only going to be so good. They're going to be more amateur.
Budget was $100,000. They actually did pretty good for $100,000.
For $100,000? Oh yeah, for sure. It was no
at the box office.
Box office numbers.
Guess how much money they made at the box office? So budget is $100,000. So that means they got everything done, paid the director, paid the actors for $100,000. Guess what it made in the box office? No wonder why they're coming out with a
$2.6 million.
$5.2 million.
Wow.
We should make a half-ass scary movie, put it out in theaters somehow, and then try to see if it does well.
Well, think about, and I don't know if we've really had this conversation or not, but something that we're gonna film, which is gonna be a very short thing, right? But we have a lot of equipment and know enough people to try to do certain things. Look at if you have a good idea, you can kind of make it work. Look at Skinamarink.
Crazy. What is that?
Skinamarink. Look up Skinamarink.
Skinamarink. Okay.
It's
a song?
No, well, Skinamarink dinky dink. Yes, but the
Skinamarink doo.
I love you. No, it's a movie too. I think it was maybe a Canadian film, but again, look at the budget. Go on Wikipedia, look at the budget, and then look what it did.
Okay, hold on. Don't tell me.
I honestly don't remember. I think the budget was probably
it came out in 2022?
I think it was like $25,000 or something. What
less.
Was 12.
15. Hold on.
All right,
I'll tell you
what did it do? So 15,000.
I would put down 15,000 to make a movie.
So $15,000.
If I knew that my ROI was 2.1 million.
2.1. So that's a huge return. Now,
I've never even heard of this movie. Where'd you hear of this movie?
I don't know. It's on Hulu or something. Now you gotta. That's kind of like a scary movie, like fantasy kind of thing. Like you gotta watch. You have to work with it though. You gotta go with it. It's not very like in your face.
Prior to the production of Skinamarink, Ball ran a YouTube channel where he would upload videos based on nightmares recounted by commentators. His 2020 short film Heck was developed as a proof of concept for Skinamarink. It was shot on digital in Ball's childhood home in Canada and premiered at the Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal. That's fucking bananas.
So again, if you have a concept and you can get a little bit of money and you know enough people and you have enough equipment, you can make stuff like this work. I know $100,000 is for us. It would be a big budget, but I mean. 15,000.
But you have enough sponsors. You also could get $100,000
if you can collect it. Yeah, for sure.
But like $15,000, we could do that easy.
Yeah, we can get that easy. But that's probably he filmed it at his childhood home. There was no real actors in it. It was more like voice. You never saw anything really. Copies
of the film leaked online, and the film garnered attention on social media from TikTok, Reddit, and Twitter, and attracted word of mouth. It was released on January 13th, 2023, and was released on the horror streaming film Shudder on February 2nd. The film was a box office success, grossing $2 million over a $15,000 budget. It received generally positive reviews from critics who characterized it as drawing upon experiences of childhood fear, though it received a polarized response from audiences.
It's interesting. You got to work with it. But even something, all right, this is the last one I'm going to ask you to look up. Look up the Block Island Sound.
Oh, I looked up yesterday or the other day movies made in Rhode Island, and Block Island Sound came up.
It's on Netflix.
I've never watched it.
It's like a horror movie.
2020.
They filmed it on Block Island.
Yes, I had.
But I'm curious of the budget, and if there is, I don't think there was a box office because I think it went straight to Netflix, but I could be wrong.
Give me 1 second. Ooh, on Wikipedia it doesn't give me the budget. Hold on.
Interesting. But they're local. They're local filmmakers. I think there's the sister may have been the actress, and then the two, I think, brothers are the director and producer.
This one's not as easy to pull up.
I'm assuming that budget wasn't crazy.
No, probably not. Yeah, it doesn't say it. This one might be one that I have to do a little more searching for.
So it's tough because with certain indie films and whatnot, like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey didn't have much of a budget. Granted, the concept was supposed to be a little ridiculous, but some of the acting we were like, I don't know, it didn't seem
it's bad.
But it's to try to pay actors and actresses that are of a higher quality, they're going to require too much money. So you have to kind of
work with what you got.
Right.
So it says that the Blood and Honey was first announced in May 2022, which I actually didn't know that. I only heard about it when you first mentioned it, which was January 2023.
Oh no, I haven't been following this thing.
Apparently. It drew widespread attention due to its premise involving a character that was a beloved childhood icon, and it was met with divided reactions. No shit. There was even controversy surrounding the film among both the general public and Winnie the Pooh fan community, claiming that he and other members of the film's production received death threats and petitions for the film to be canceled.
God, go read a book.
The film was shot $100,000 budget in 10 days in Essex, England. It serves as inspiration of the 100-Acre Woods, the main setting of the story. It premiered in Mexico on January 26th and was theatrically released in the U.S. on February 15th and in the UK on March 10th. The film received overwhelmingly negative reviews, but was a financial success, grossing $5.2 million worldwide against a $100,000 budget. A sequel and a shared universe are in development.
Again, those numbers, if you say, it did $5.2 million at the box office, it always depends on what the budget is. Now, even with Skinamarink, it did 2.1. It had a $15,000 budget. Somebody will look at that, for a Marvel movie or something, that's terrible numbers because their budget is $100 million.
Yeah.
So they need to come
higher,
a little bit higher or close to that. Mm-hmm. So that's 2.1 million off of that.
15,000.
That's nuts.
5.2 on 100,000.
So now you have more money to play with, but also.
What do you think the budget is if you had to guess?
For Blood and Honey too?
Yeah. Do you think they're at a $500,000 budget? More?
I'd say
Let's make bets.
Why can you see it?
No. Can I see it?
Maybe if you look it up. I would say the budget has to go from anywhere from 250 to 500,000. From 100,000, I would assume that they would at least double it.
All right, I'm gonna say I don't know if it'll even show up. It probably will show up once the movie comes out, but we'll see if it does. I'm gonna say that the budget is 400,000 or 500,000.
I'd say 250 to 500 safe, and if it's more than that, then good on them.
It's not released yet.
It's on Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's not on Wikipedia.
Okay, that would be my guess because even 250 is more than double.
So it looks like I might have just spoiled it for myself. It looks like some other characters are coming back in this second one.
Ooh, Tigger.
Do I ruin this for you or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So Christopher Robin's back. Winnie the Pooh's back. Piglet is back. Tigger is now fully here.
Yeah.
Owl is fully here. And then Cavendish. Who is Cavendish from Winnie?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Tigger was the big one, though. They said that after the first one, they're like, Tigger's going to make his appearance.
Am I making this up in my head? But at the end of the first movie, did they hint that there was going to be Tigger in the second one with something of the ending, the way it ended? There was some kind of like boing. Like I remember seeing like a noise or
there
like
was something that
visually
alluded to the other characters potentially.
I just can't remember.
I can't remember what it is either, but I'm pretty sure there was something. Like
it's gonna be very interesting to see Owl. How do you make Owl?
I know that's the one I can't wait to see. Like, what they make him look like.
Yeah, like how do you make him scary? Just make this like big thing with like flapping wings. Is he gonna fly?
I don't know. And then you got to figure like what do his feet look like? Like
talons. Probably like a.
I guess you'd
like
have
a crow.
But like,
I don't know. That's gonna be weird.
Piglet and Pooh are like just two like redneck lumberjacks in the movie. It's so good.
It's so funny. Let's see. Yeah, people are just really excited. They did a very, very like small snippet character of what Tigger's gonna look like, and to me, it's hard to picture Tigger. So when you think of Tigger, what do you think of?
His tail, like bouncing on his tail?
Yeah, like colors, orange and black.
Yeah.
He's a little tiger, hence Tigger. This is like, they show his eyes, and it's a little hard to kind of picture how that's going to be
how do you know that
tiger?
That's him?
I had been seeing that one a lot because I see Pooh.
Yeah. Yeah, but they may have revamped Pooh. I've seen some pictures that looked like they may have revamped him a little bit.
Beyond that?
Yeah. But I don't know. I've seen the picture that you're showing, but I didn't think that was Tigger necessarily.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, maybe not then.
It looked like they revamped
there
Pooh,
you go.
potentially.
So you think that might be Pooh?
Yeah, I've seen that picture too. I don't know if that's him.
That looks like a little tiger to me.
Let me see.
He looks like a little.
You know what? Now that you say that,
he has the teeth.
But look at the black stripes. Do you see it?
Oh,
they're
I
like
do
faint. It could be.
So
potentially
this
also
is so funny.
We may have a. Does Heather know about this yet? Did we tell her?
No, I didn't tell her yet, so I'm gonna have to tell her now.
Well, because this will come out.
She has COVID right now.
Hey, shout out Heather.
Shout out Heather.
Recover quickly.
I know.
So we might have like triple date action going.
Yeah.
For Blood and Honey too.
I think we need to just to like relive this. I know that she'll want to see it because she said it after the second one. She was like, that was really bad. But like, I would see another one that comes up from him. Like, I know. And that's kind of how I feel about it. I liked it a lot. Not in the sense that it was good. It was just entertaining. Like, I think I found myself laughing more so than anything.
I thought, honestly, again, going in knowing that it's ridiculous, it
helps.
was pretty. Yeah, it helped because there's movies that I've seen and walked out of because they're so terrible.
Like a lot of them.
A lot of them I walked out.
I know.
of.
Nick was looking on TV yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, you want to watch a movie?" And he pulled up The Haunting of Venice. I go, Joe walked out of that.
Oh God, was that the Tina Fey one? It was fucking terrible.
I don't know.
It was terrible.
Yeah, I was like, we can't.
You wouldn't like that one. There's certain movies where I'm like, I didn't love it, but like watching it at home, it's not terrible, I guess.
Yeah. So instead, we watched Terrifier 2. Oh, that was the other day.
Better. So Nick is doing the same thing that I'm doing right now. He's starting with 2
backwards.
Going 2, 1, and then he's got to do All Hallows Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Which I still haven't watched. I
haven't watched All Hallows Eve either. So I kind of am doing it backwards because I watched 1, then I watched 1, 2, back. And then all the way back to the roots. I actually didn't even know that it was based on. I knew that I've seen this character before. I just didn't really know how. And now it makes sense because he's been around since All Hallows Eve, which is at this point. Yeah, it's been out for a little while. So, I We're all just starting in all sorts of different rankings on this. Who would have known that we would become friends and then bond over really shitty, scary movies? And good scary movies.
Yeah, but I don't even know how this came up. I was also like completely shocked that not only did you know about a Serbian film, you owned it. I was like, wait, what?
I was like, yeah, you want to borrow it? You're like, wait, what?
You're like, it's in my car. I have it right now. Like, what the fuck? One of the most fucked up movies I've ever seen.
It's really bad, but it's very, I have to choose my words carefully. It's a very interesting film.
It's not scary. It's just
scary.
Terrible.
It's
like as far as like how the plot goes.
The concept is like, it's thought of thoroughly, but it reaches / taps into like a lot of people's like worst nightmares in regards to being a decent human.
Yeah. It's like yeah. It's just, if you get your hands on it, I would recommend just I know. You gotta be careful. It depends on how much
like
you
Heather
like.
couldn't watch that.
Really?
Yeah, like Heather, like she's like, I know what I can't watch that, and I was like, I respect that. I didn't know what was in it, to be fair, when I first watched it.
Yeah.
There was a DVD place that was close to like my old school, and I would go down and just go to the. I was the only one in the horror movie section. Everyone would be upstairs, and I was always down in the horror movie section buying like if they had a new Saw movie, because they got them like. I think technically they're like used DVDs, but then you can buy them. Like they get them like in bulk. They're not like brand new.
Yeah.
So I remember being downstairs and I was like one of the only people. And I remember reading up on like what's the scariest movie like ever made.
Yeah.
And it was a Serbian film. So I went downstairs and I was just kind of looking and I was like, oh, Soft the 4 or whatever. Like cool, grab that. And then I looked and I was like, shut up, this movie's here. Like I just read up on it. And I bought it and I brought it home and I was like, holy. Whoa.
It's a lot. It's very different than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
It is very different. But I'm very excited to see this. I just relived seeing Piglet again. It's so funny because like Pooh looks like a lumberjack man who's like this big burly like dude. And then like Blood and Honey looks like what they typically make in like really awful, mind you, this is awful, but like films about people from, I think that's like my purse or something, I don't know. What they make about like old scary movies at like The Hills Have Eyes, that kind of stuff. It's like the stupid cousin. Like that Piglet is the stupid cousin. He's like just kind of like doesn't have his
he's
like,
not the leader.
His intellectual level's a little lower than like Pooh, and that's just kind of how Piglet is.
Yeah. He's like the right hand, the henchman.
He just does whatever Pooh wants him to do.
I do think it's funny that, now I'm nitpicking it, but like I think it's funny that they got left to their own devices and they ate one of their own, but then they still like wear clothes. They live in a house. they sleep in their bed. Like
Yep.
Like they're not completely like feral, I guess.
And they have this like almost inhuman sense to them as well, where like I don't know if I remember this correctly, but of course you can guess, like this isn't like a spoiler alert, you can guess that eventually they die and something happens and they're not actually dead type deal, because clearly there's a second one coming out. But like I remember Pooh getting hit by a car and like they thought he was dead, and like JK, he's not dead.
No.
And that's kind of where like some of the movies almost lose me for a quick second on that, because I'm like Terrifier 2 was an example. We talked about it. Like there's this inhuman sense. They humanify it. They make these things like human. Art the Clown, Pooh, Piglet, but then there's this inhuman sense that they like can never die.
It's kind of like
you stick a thing through the forehead and somehow they're still alive, and it's like.
But Michael Myers has been shot, stabbed. Like I mean,
that's another one where I'm just like. I don't get it.
I know.
Because like
it's tough.
I guess like I'm such a fan of the Saw franchise that when he dies, like he's actually dead. It's just other people are coming in and like serving as Jigsaw type deal. That's where some of those movies just kind of like, I'm like, but he was supposed to die. Like he was dead. And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm alive again. And it's like.
It is a little bit tough. It's quirky because I like the real horror type shit. Like I don't like shit that's like I went to see Night Swim. Yeah. And Night Swim was okay. it was all right until you saw the thing, and it was like, it reminded me of Fatso from Casper. I'm like, this was fucking cheesy.
Yeah, Joe doesn't like to see the thing.
No,
we
that's why
talked about
Smile
Smile.
sucked.
Yeah. Smile was such a good movie too.
It was great.
So good.
It was like getting to the goal line, Russell Wilson style, throwing an interception in the Super Bowl.
But especially like it was the first time that they had made a scary movie like actually good in a while, and it came out during 2021. Smile.
Yeah.
It came out in 2021, which was like the year after COVID, like there were no good scary movies that came out during COVID. Like 2019 was a little, so it's like everyone was really excited for this one scary movie that was about to come out. And you were a little disappointed.
It was good, honestly. Well, because they did a lot of buildup. I remember seeing trailers for that.
I saw it for months before. Months.
And then all of a sudden it finally came out. And it was good until I saw the thing. And once I see the thing,
I liked it.
I can see the thing
creepy.
if it's real. But to your point, even about Terrifier 2, and no spoilers, but at the very end, it becomes a little bit.
You're like, what happened? Because clearly there's a third.
It sounds. It's like a little bit mythical and almost like, I don't know. I get like biblical references from it when she's in the tank and comes up, and it's like, it's like Saint Michael kind of like biblical type thing.
I'm hoping that the third one just like ties it all up in a knot. Like, you know how sometimes like movies, like they're like things don't make sense and all of a sudden there's something that just like puts a nice bow and ties it together. I'm hoping that's the case for that one.
Do you want it to end with 3?
No, I don't. Because I actually really like the series, and I think that it could go on to make a few more. I think they'll turn into like a Michael Myers. I mean, they really are like protruding him, meaning him, to be a horror figure that will be around for like a little while.
You just never know where he's going to pop up too.
But then again, Pennywise, they only made like two technically, like one old one, a new one, and then a part 2. So they really didn't so maybe they'll end it with the third, but I think they're just getting started.
I know. You just don't want them to get like ridiculous. Like with the Halloween franchise, like I liked 1, 2. I liked 4, 5.
I don't like Kills, or which one was the last one before Ends?
There's 3 different storylines in Halloween.
Yeah, you like lost me on that. I get you little gimmicks of Michael Myers because I know you like him, but I have no idea what the storyline even isn't about.
It's because like different like production companies and shit buy and sell the rights. Yeah. So now they can, like, they're talking about making a Halloween like show and potentially another movie under a different like plot.
Oh,
so like the last trilogy went from like 1 and then this new trilogy, but then there's one that's 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and then there's 1, 2, H2O Resurrection.
This is a lot.
So that's like...
This is a lot. Winnie the Pooh, is there going to be a part 3, you think?
It depends on how part 2 does, but I would imagine that I think it's going to do pretty well.
They got to bring the rest of the character. I don't think they'll say, if only Owl is back, then I think the third is just going to have the gang's all here. Everyone's out to play.
Well, you're still waiting on, like, from that list, Kanga still isn't showing up.
Kanga's still not there.
So maybe he makes an appearance.
And Rue?
Well, here's the thing. You got to look at when these rights are going to become public, because Tigger becomes public in January. So technically they release it in February. They're good.
Hold on. I'll tell you. Winnie the Pooh characters. Okay. We said Pooh. If Owl is back, Owl would be there. Eeyore, Tigger, Kanga, and Roo. Piglet and Rabbit. So we need Kanga, Roo, and Rabbit. Rights to Kanga and Roo being...
I could have sworn that there was more than just the 3 of them in the beginning of the first one. Like, did they reference eating off Rabbit? I feel like there was more than 3 that they referenced.
I think this calls for a rewatch.
All right,
for the 4th time for you.
I'm going to have to rewatch. Well, just like the intro. I'll just pull up the intro, but I'll mute it just to, like, I gotta see.
Okay.
Whoa.
Makes,
I know this is like I gotta make sure I talk through this so there's not like a giant lull.
it's very strange reading up on like the rights of these characters. Oh, Kangaroo are now public domain. Disney loses the rights. Yeah.
Bam.
January 3rd, 2022. So it lost Kanga and Roo already. So how much do you want to bet how do you buy the rights to it? So like
they're just public.
So like they don't have to pay out to them. They can just use them and not buy them.
Correct. Hold on.
Okay.
I gotta see how this.
All right.
There's 4 of them. Hold on. Owl, rabbit, Eeyore, Piglet, Winnie the Pooh. Oh, hold on. I gotta hear how they do this.
This is the beginning of Blood and Honey.
The first one with like the sketch where they explain what happened.
Okay. I'm gonna read this out loud. So Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore, Rabbit, Kangaroo, and Owl. Tigger was not introduced into Winnie the Pooh until later, so he will remain exclusive to Disney until 2024. So the rest of them have all been released. Tigger was the only one that was held on to because he was a character that was introduced later. I think they had them for 75 years is what I'm saying. This is just like preliminary looking around. So I don't actually know for sure. I would have to look, or if you really care enough, do your own research. But it says Winnie the Pooh characters have entered the public domain. It means that anyone can use the characters as they please without having to pay a fee. Other production companies could choose to make their own Winnie the Pooh movies or television series. However, Winnie the Pooh character, the adorable one with the red t-shirt and a rumbly in his tumbly, will only belong to Disney for the time being. Disney created that version of Winnie the Pooh as well as friends like Piglet, who wore green in the original story, so they can continue to create that version of the honey-loving bear without having to worry that another company will create something identical. So they they lost the rights to it, but in regards to how Pooh has, did you listen?
Yeah, so they referenced
Eeyore.
They only killed Eeyore.
That's what I thought.
But they referenced
all of them.
Not Tigger though.
So the reason why they didn't, and I just read up on it, was all of the characters of Winnie the Pooh were actually released already, except for Tigger. Mm-hmm. So Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore, Rabbit, Kangaroo, and Owl were all released by the time this movie came out. Tigger was a character that was added later into Disney, so his contract was up in 2024. So they couldn't even reference him yet at the time because of the fact that he wasn't even up until now.
Yep.
But the rest of them were all up at that time of 2022, which was obviously before they were filming of this. The only thing that Disney owns is the image of Pooh, of him wearing the red t-shirt, and Piglet in the little green outfit. And that's the only thing that they own, but they don't own the characters anymore. So people can people don't have to pay a fee in order to use these characters. But now they can reference Tigger. Fun fact.
Right. Okay. So that's
it.
That's your scuttlebutt. So now like anybody, because it's public, anybody can do this. So even like, for instance, the Redskins logo, now you can use that on whatever because it's not trademarked anymore.
Oh, very interesting.
So that's what happens when they let the rights go. They're just public. Unless somebody could, I guess, buy them, but if it's public, then you just do whatever you want with them.
Very cool.
Like make horror movies out of your beloved childhood characters.
Scary.
I can't wait for Barney.
Oh, that's going to put like, that was the one show my parents put on to like shut me up.
It didn't work.
It worked.
I don't think it worked.
Doesn't work anymore.
Imagine if they made a Barney one.
I don't know how my heart would feel with it, but they probably would. I would not be surprised if things like that eventually happen. Like, I would love to do the Chuck E. Cheese mouse. They like animatronicked it now so that they're like modern and whatever. And like, I loved the original. Like, do you remember the old Chuck E. Cheese characters and what they look like? The birdie, like I would love to do like you are stuck inside of.
This is Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah,
and that was a movie I walked out of. Terrible, but it did great at the box office
because it has a popular like kid sense. Like kids love Five Nights at Freddy.
Fair.
But yeah, so it's like that. But with
You
Chuck E.
can't
Cheese
steal
characters.
the idea. They already did it.
But like Chuck E. Cheese has been around long before Five Nights at Freddy's.
I know, but you're taking the same exact concept.
Okay, so how do we come up with a new concept then?
I don't know. They escape and
Rule the world.
I don't know. I'm not really into the animatronic horror movie. That's your gig. See what your budget is for this.
$4,000. Let's see if we can turn it into $2 million.
Anyway, everybody's homework is to watch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and then go to the
watch
theaters.
the second one. But don't go to the Lincoln Movie Theater because I think that's where Joe, myself, and Heather are going. So don't take our seats. Okay.
Don't take our seats if that's the case. But if everybody goes and they do well, we'll get a third one.
And then that way we'll have Rue, Kanga,
I know there's so many more.
And everyone else. All right.
Maybe Mickey Mouse. He's public. Throw him in there.
Done. Well, we love you guys so much. I love that for me.
I hate that for everyone who's not going to see Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Full circle. Proud of you. All right, bye.